Welcome, Beans Army, to another episode of the Less is More Sports Podcast, the social media and sports podcast. MLB season is right around the corner, and what that means is Cap or No Cap is back. So Matt and I are going to take some of the top narratives from social media surrounding the 2023 MLB baseball season, and we're going to say whether that's valid or that's not. So, McMuffin, you about ready to get started?
Yep, let's hit it.
All right, so my first question, or the first narrative rather, Mike Trout is no longer the best player in baseball.
That is actually, in my opinion, Cap, Wes. I'm going to be honest. He's still the best player in baseball. The problem is he's on a horrible, horrible ball club. And the Major League Baseball commissioners and their owners just don't care. They just don't care. Rob Manfred said it in his own words when he said the players have to advertise themselves. And when I look at what Mike Trout has done in the 8, 9 years he's been in the league already, all the All Star games, all the MVP, constantly finishing at the top of the AL MVP race or within it. I can't deny that this guy is putting up historical numbers in a game that's been around since the 1870s. That's pretty impressive. Now, is he getting older? Yes. Is he becoming more injury prone? Yes. Are we exiting the prime of the Trout as it struggles upriver against the waterfall we call Father Time? Yes. But I still think he's the best player in baseball by far. And the problem is we don't see enough of that because the Angels are a dumpster fire year in and year out. They've got Shohei Ohtani, they've got Mike Trout. They'll usually try to buy one other good player, whether it's Anthony Rendon, whether it's Albert Pujols for that period of time, and try to get good, but they're just not good. And so we see a lot of guys like Fernando Tatis Jr., if he can ever get it together, Vladimir Guerrero, Pete Alonso. Those guys are all great. Aaron Judge, they're all great. But I don't think that they have in their arsenal the tools that Mike Trout has right now, even as he approaches the hump of time, which will eventually take him from us as it does all athletes. So I think that's Cap. I'm still going with Mike Trout as the best player in baseball, but it's just sad to watch as like a legend kind of, gets older.
I can respect that. And as always, we love all of our listeners. But per usual with the Cap or No Cap episodes, if you're listening on the Spotify channel, you might want to switch over to the YouTube channel for this episode. With that being said, I am 100% going to agree with Matt that that is Cap. And of course, I got my St. Louis Cardinal hat for my cap. But at the end of the day, we can talk about what Shohei Ohtani and what he does, both pitching and hitting. We can talk about the rising stars of like Fernando Tatis, Juan Soto, guys like that. But at the end of the day, baseball is an analytic game, and no one over the past decade has put up better analytics than Mike Trout. Mike Trout's analytics rivaled some of the best players that have ever played. And until that changes, when healthy, he still puts up those same analytic numbers. And the day that changes is when I will be ready to say that Mike Trout is not the best player in baseball. But we have yet to see that. So that is absolute cap. Mike Trout is still the best player in baseball.
All right, which brings us to our next question, also in the AL West.
Also in the AL West, the Oakland Athletics are the worst, will be in 2023 the worst team in baseball.
That's true. I mean, the A's are a dumpster fire right now. They've traded everybody. Their stadium's a mess. They might be moving to Las Vegas. There's just so much happening with that team, and none of it's good. And people are going to talk about the Reds, but the Reds, even this year, where their owner is saying, "Well, we don't got no dang good money," even though because he's an idiot, um, and stuff like that. It at least warms my heart. Well, it doesn't warm my heart, but it at least makes me feel a little bit better knowing that the Reds are like 29th of 30th this year because the A's are even worse, man. The A's are just everybody who was good is gone. They're running on prospects and dreams. And sometimes running on prospects and dreams turns you into the Astros or the Royals. And sometimes it just turns you into a perpetual state of nothingness. And even the Reds, I know they've got Jonathan India, and I know they've got Joey Votto, and I know they've got good young pitching. I don't even know what the A's have less. The A's just have a stadium that leaks sewage. That's all I know. And they could be moving to Las Vegas. That's all I know. So that's no cap. The poor A's are the worst team in baseball, and it sucks for fans, especially when you're wondering if your team's on the move.
So, what's the old saying? Baseball doesn't exist. Because I'm looking at a lot of these narratives, and of course, we're going to make our best give our best opinions. But at the end of the day, baseball is the hardest sport to predict. With that being said, I am going to say that this is cap, and that the team that I have is the worst team in baseball is the Boston Red Sox. They were fifth in the AL East in 2022, and I absolutely hated the offseason that they had. They did absolutely nothing that they needed. They lost Xander Bogaerts, and they just threw money at Rafael Devers, which, if you're going to rebuild, what they could have done is at least traded him and went full rebuild mode for assets. So I absolutely hated the offseason that the Boston Red Sox had. Believe it or not, I still think I think they're gonna be worse than the Athletics. So I just want to give an absolute fail to the Boston Red Sox for the offseason they had. Suck it.
Okay. I have a feeling we're not going to be invited to sit on the Green Monster anytime soon now, but
I mean, not like I ever have been to the Green Monster, so I really don't know what I'm
now
going to be missing
we
there,
are
bud.
banned from Boston, Les. We are banned.
Good. Boston fans suck.
Oh god, now we're at war with the city of Boston.
That's
Oh, boy.
fine. The only thing I like about Boston is Jason Tatum.
And that's only because of Duke.
Oh no, I like Jason Tatum when he was in high school. I
I
said
like
that.
Duke. I know.
Do
I
what?
like Deuce Tatum. I like that kid. He's
Hey,
hilarious.
Deuce Tatum is such a cute kid.
He makes me laugh, man. I love that kid.
Did you see this? Did you see like the clip like of the guy who blocked Jason in one of the games and Deuce comes up and starts punching him?
Yes.
That was hilarious.
That kid's great. I love that kid.
I hope my kid, if I ever have kids, is like half as cute as Deuce.
That would be a tall task just because he's that adorable.
He is such an adorable kid. But the only thing that might be more adorable than Deuce Tatum is, of course, our very own Emperor Bean.
That's right. He's even waving to his people. He knows what's happening.
All right, bud, we got to continue on. I know
We
you.
got
I know.
we got to stay out west again. We're starting on the west coast and working our way back in, I guess, huh?
Hey, we're just going on a west road trip east, moving east. So we're staying on the west, as you said. Number 3, our third social media narrative: the Padres are the most exciting team in baseball.
I can't even do that. Let's look at their roster, shall we? Uh, hmm, Xander Bogarts, pretty good. Jake Cronenworth, pretty good. Ha-Sung Kim, pretty good. Manny Machado, he's pretty cool. They're gonna get Fernando Tatis Jr. back at some point. Adam Engel, I like him. Juan Soto, Nelson Cruz, older, still has a lot of pop. Yeah, there's no question here. The Padres are the most exciting team in baseball. They have incredible bats all the way through that lineup. They've got a core four of guys that we haven't seen in a very long time. And they even improved their pitching. They signed Yu Darvish to a massive extension. They've got Joe Musgrove, and they even stole your beloved Michael Waka for their rotation. So, well, what was that face about? My point being is that they're the most exciting team in baseball. Oh, and not to mention Josh Hader's still on that team. I thought he was a free agent, but oh well. So that's a lot of all-star players, including 4 core guys in a really good lineup. There's a lot of pop in there. There's some pitching in there. Padres are the most exciting team in baseball. They already went to the NLCS, and I would even dare to say they've got more talent now than they did that year. So, yep, no question. And now you're going to tell me it's the Cardinals and just be like, Paul Goldschmidt's RBI levels are incredibly high.
It's like you know me or something, because yeah, this is absolute cap to me, because I'm going to talk about, this is probably the one time on this podcast that I'd be an absolute homer, but for valid reason though, because this is my homer pick. I'm going to go with my St. Louis Cardinals. Because look, Matt, we have the reigning NL MVP in Paul Goldschmidt. We have Nolan Arenado, who was top 5 in MVP voting a season ago as well. We went out and got Wilson Contreras. We got another year with the young guys like Brendan Donovan, Tyler O'Neill, Lars Nootbaar, aka my man Lars Bars, Nolan Gorman, Tommy Edman. But what sets us over the top? What sets us over the top is, at some point, whether that be the beginning of the season, opening day, all-star break, whatever, we are going to see the highly touted prospect Jordan Walker make his debut. So and let me tell you, that guy is a star in the making. That's the move that sits us over the top. Of course, I'm never worried about pitching with the Cardinals. I mean, Waino came back for his final MLB season. Flaherty's supposed to be healthy this year. I know we're good. But when you have that group of young guys with two MVP candidates, one MVP winner from a season ago, and the top prospect in baseball expecting to make his debut at some point, I gotta be excited about it. So that's my homer pick.
Since you admitted it's your homer pick, I'm not going to come down hard on you because I respect the fact you admitted that. I think you're putting a lot of emphasis on a rookie and maybe healthy pitching, but that's what baseball's for. Baseball doesn't exist. We've been over this, so
I
I'm
mean,
not gonna
question,
I'm not gonna hit you too hard for that.
have you seen what Jordan Walker's done in the Grapefruit League?
Yes, but it's the Grapefruit League.
It's still pretty
Half,
impressive.
half
He's
those
still
guys
hitting
aren't gonna be on a roster in like weeks.
he's still hitting 500 with 3 home runs. I'm good with
Half
it.
those guys aren't going to be on the roster in 2 weeks.
But he
They
will.
Still a rookie. It takes time. Don't don't rush him just yet. Don't make him into Bryce Harper just yet. Okay. That's
Moving
all.
on to number
That's
4.
all I'm
Moving
saying.
on to number 4. Moving on to number 4. The Mets should be preseason favorites in the NL as the Yankees should be preseason favorites in the AL.
I don't even know why you asked this. Cap. 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 Who won the World Series last year, Les?
The Astros.
Who has beaten the Yankees basically every time they've played them, Les?
The Astros.
Who's a dynasty in the making who just keeps discovering new superstars every year?
The Astros.
So who should be the World Series favorite in the AL?
Astros.
No. Tampa. No, you're right. Gotcha. It is the Astros. The Astros, I mean, I called them a dynasty in the making. I still think they're a dynasty in the making. And as for the Mets are hard to argue about. I know they've got Scherzer. I know they've got Verlander now. They've had some good free agent signings. Like I said, I just really like what San Diego has done. I know they're buying a team, and that generally doesn't work. But I would take them. I still think that the Phillies will be riding off that World Series loss and looking to stay improved. They still got all the guys they need and want, desire. I look at the Braves. I think they'll be even better this year. I think that and the NL, I mean East in general is just incredibly tough looking. Even the bad team, the Marlins, is adding Jazz Chisholm. They made a bunch of weird moves, getting pitching and prop and positional players. So I'm going to say that's cap on both fronts because, as far as I'm concerned, the AL still is going to run through Houston because, like you said, a couple of playoff teams have already taken a step back. Like Boston was close; they've taken a further step back. A lot of teams who were good have taken steps back. So I'm gonna stick with the Astros. And I mean the NL is just like there are a lot of good teams. The Cardinals are still pretty good. The I'm not gonna deny that the Cardinals are still pretty good. The Phillies are good. The Mets are good, of course. The Padres, the Dodgers, who we haven't even talked about yet, they're still pretty good even without Gavin Lux. So I'm gonna cap both of those because I like the field in the NL, and I still think until somebody proves otherwise, Houston.
So wording is key here because the question is that they should be preseason favorites. Says nothing about who I think is going to come out of the AL or NL. So with that being said, for the first time on the show, I'm going to say no cap because these two teams have the 2 highest payrolls in baseball. The Mets got guys like Frankie Lindor, Pete Alonso, and yeah, they lose Jacob deGrom, but they went out and got Justin Verlander. The Yankees have the reigning MVP and really no weaknesses on paper, either in the hitting lineup or the pitching rotation. So I think it's very, very fair to say that the 2 teams in New York should be the favorites in the respected NL and AL. So for the first time in this cap or no cap, I am no capping.
Okay.
I feel like that was supposed to be a lot more dramatic than how it ended up. So
Bum bum bum.
darn.
Are you
Rats.
happy?
No,
Are you
I'm not. I'm never happy.
I know you're never happy. I don't know why I do this.
Yeah, do you know who is happy? Emperor
Bean.
Bean. He
He has like futures on the Yankees. I know.
I know
He,
he's the future ball boy turned slash MVP candidate slash angel in the outfield.
oh my God. Is
So
he
many
also?
so many directions here.
He's also the fish that saved Pittsburgh. While we're at it,
Oh, he's everything now. He's his own. He's got his own army. He can do
oh,
whatever he wants.
I don't know. We should have thought about that before we let this guy have. We gave him the whole army. I don't
It's
know if
too
we're
late
ready.
now.
I don't know if we can handle Dictator Bean. That could be too much.
We can barely handle Emperor Bean, let alone Dictator Bean.
Yeah, that's true. Dictator
Putin can bow to him.
He's building a Death Star in the backyard right now.
Dude, if he's building it in my backyard, he's really talented because there is not a lot of space there.
Hey, Phineas and Ferb could do it, man.
Their backyard is bigger than mine, believe it or not.
I don't know. Phineas and Ferb were really sneaky.
They are. But anyways, moving on to number 5.
We're gonna disagree on this one, I feel like, and it's gonna be great.
We'll see here. The rule changes are awful.
That is cap. They're great, and I love them. Number one,
Okay,
they
I was waiting
embrace
for why.
chaos. They embrace chaos. I love the chaos. I cannot wait for the World Series to end on a cold ball strike 3 because someone didn't get in the box quick enough. It's going to be great. We're all going to freak out. We're all going to cry, and I'm going to love every second of it. Number two, I just love the fact that now games end in under 2 hours. That was, to me, a major problem in baseball, Les. And let me tell you, if you could, these videos are just proving my point. We are seeing now where like pitchers are striking a guy out, or having an entire half inning in the time it takes to throw 3 pitches from last year. And if you ask me, I like that. I like that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Baseball purists can be damned for all I care. I don't care what you think because I think it's great that games are now ending in under 2 hours. They're going to be a little bit more exciting because you're going to have to strategize a lot quicker. The people who like the old way also like shot clockless basketball, where you could just run the 4 corner offense and waste 40 minutes of your life you never get back. This is a lot more fun, a lot more balls in play, a lot more interesting position, a lot more interesting pitches you have to decide on a lot quicker. Bye bye shifts. Who needs shifts? I know it's good defensive strategy, but I want to watch the ball go boom. I want to watch people make insane plays in the outfield. I want that to happen. I don't want a bunch of boring, oh, they've moved everybody to the right side of the field because the guy can't hit there. And then watching as the pitcher belabors for 30 minutes through one guy's at bat. I love everything about these rule changes. I love the bigger bases. I love the fact teams are stealing bases like it's nobody's business in spring training. It's exciting. I love it. I think it's going to end up paying off in the long run because games are quicker, they're going to have more action, and it's going to be a lot more fun for people like me who enjoyed baseball before, but now you got to be quick-witted, you got to have strategy, and you got to be ready to go the minute that ball's in play. And I absolutely love it.
You ready for me to shock the world?
Come on, come on, woo!
It's no cap, baby. You know what the best part about this is? Because
What's
these
that?
rule changes are to accommodate to a younger crowd. And what that means is that we're pushing the boomers out of baseball. Bye-bye, boomers. You're not welcome here anymore. Because one thing that has always made me mad about baseball enthusiasts is just how tradition-based they are and how baseball shouldn't be messed with. And, I have some pretty hot takes when it comes to the tradition and the integrity of the game of baseball. So to those fans, I say nothing. I just slap them and we move on. And that is exactly what baseball did. Bye-bye, boomers. Hello, millennials and Gen Zs, because that's who's going to be playing majority of baseball anyway. So we are welcoming the new generation of fans, and I'm all for it. Baseball, I love Look, I love baseball, but like you said, man, I mean, the regular season is 162 games. We don't need to sit down and watch a 4-hour baseball game when we have 162 games left to go. So
Exactly.
ratings are already good, believe it or not, are good in baseball, they're only going to get better because like you said, there's going to be quicker. There's going to be more action. There's going to be less waiting time. So the only thing I will say is it really appropriate for us to call baseball America's pastime anymore? Because we're not really going to be passing time anymore.
I don't know what we'd replace it with though.
I don't either. I think that's above my pay grade.
Dodgeball. Rules in dodgeball have been the same since the ancient Romans chucked pig bladders at each other, so we're gonna roll with it.
You don't want me in dodgeball, Matt.
Dude, I hated dodgeball because I was always taller than everybody, so I'd always be getting hit in the fucking head. Oh, whoops.
Did Matt just say a swear? I love it.
I probably have so many flipping concussions from getting hit in the head, man. It's a wonder I can even think straight. Because I'm like,
Did they not? Did you know that's like against the rules to hit you in the head?
You didn't play Christian school kick or dodgeball, Les, where it was like God will protect you from put on the full armor of God and maybe you'll survive this concussion.
I went to St. X and like if we got hit in the head, that was the only way. Like
Catholics, man, you know, they hit somebody in the ball, Hail Mary. Christian school, it's like, oh, you got hit in the head, get over it, wuss. Go pray about it.
Do you know Catholics?
No,
that I can tell. That's all I'm gonna say.
no, but no, I got hit in the head so many times, man. One broke my glasses, and I was so upset that day. But no,
I'd be pretty mad too.
dodgeball's been the same, I think, since like the Romans were throwing pig bladders at each other, and the Mayans were playing the game where you get the ball through the hoop using your elbow pad. So I think dodgeball is the world's pastime. Maybe not America's. Golf. No wait, that's Scottish. Pickleball. There we go. Pickleball is America's
The new
pastime.
pickleball. That is the new America's pastime.
Pickleball is America's pastime now.
Alrighty, moving on to number 6. Vladdy Jr. wins AL MVP. Pete Alonso wins NL MVP.
This is going to be hard.
Half cap.
Half cap. Yeah, as you can see, I look real good with this half cap. I think this is finally the year in the AL where Shohei Ohtani gets the MVP. Or gets both, maybe. I feel like we're going to realize that maybe he's older than you think he is because he spent all that time in Japan.
Yeah.
He's going to
Oh yeah, I didn't think he was that young.
He's leaving the Angels probably this offseason, and he may not be the same guy after this point. He could be somebody totally different. So he's in the conversation every year. I mean, he's 28 right now. He would have won it last year if it hadn't have been for Aaron Judge's absolutely amazing, awesome season. And I think that they're going to reward him again just for being Shohei Ohtani. I think he's going to win the AL again. Now, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is going to be right there. He's like, if this is Shohei Ohtani, this is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Then there's Aaron Judge. He's like maybe a half step lower than Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Unless he hits another 60 home runs. That's how I see the AL panning out. I think they're going to give it to Shohei Ohtani just because Nikola Jokic has set the standard across MVP voting for like if you're an exceptional player, you're at least going to be there every year now. NL, I think you're spot on. I think it is going to be Pete Alonso. The New York market, the Mets being very good, and the fact his bat in the lineup is going to be even more valued now with the changes they've made. I think he will win the NL MVP. I think he's due. I think he's been waiting around. So I'm going to say Shohei Ohtani in the AL, Pete Alonso in the NL. Half cap.
I'm going to no cap this because those were my two MVP picks. I think this is the year that Vladdy Jr. finally gets an AL MVP because he's been in the running the last several years as well. Pete Alonso, always a good choice to win NL MVP, so I have no issue with either one. So I'm going to go ahead for time constraints and just say no cap. And we're going to move on to our 7th narrative. And this is where Shohei Ohtani comes in. Shohei Ohtani wins the AL Cy Young. Sandy Alvarez wins the NL Cy Young.
Once again,
half cap.
Half cap.
Half cap.
I don't know why. I'm just feeling like this is the year of Shohei Ohtani. I think he gets both. And the baseball world is stunned at this development. That would be dope.
I love the chaos. I'm like you. I would love that chaos.
That would be dope. I would love it, and I want it to happen. So that's what I'm going to say.
Did you just say dope? I love it. Dope. He just said dope.
It
He
would be
said the
gold.
word.
I
He
said
said the
what?
word.
I say many words. In the NL, Sandy Alcantara has opened up as the favorite, but he's the defending winner.
Sandy Alvarez.
I thought it was Alcantara.
It's Alvarez.
Are you sure? We're talking about the
Yes.
guy from the Marlins, right?
Yes. I'm pretty
I'm,
sure it's Sandy
I'm pretty
Alvarez.
sure it's Alcantara.
I'm gonna double check for you real quick, but I'm pretty
While you
sure
double
it's
check, I'm going to tell you who I'm going with this year, and I'm going to go with Corbin Burns. I think he's playing like a man. He's going to be
it
playing
is
like a.
Wow, it is Alcantara. I
Thank
am
you.
it is
You made me think I
Alcantara.
was losing my mind. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's Sandy Alcantara, but I didn't catch that.
Oh
My
wow,
mind.
I'm an idiot. It is
No,
Alcantara.
dude, it's baseball. We all make mistakes. I'm gonna go with Corbin Burns of the Brewers. He had a nasty arbitration with them. I think that he wants to prove that he's worth all the money they're not giving him. NL Central is kind of wide open. I think it's the Cardinals to lose, but there are a lot of bad teams in there too. You know, the Pirates, the Reds. We're going to talk about the Cubs in a minute for me. But I think Corbin Burns is going to show out against like those NL Central lineups. I think that arbitration thing is going to drive him to be an even better pitcher. So I'm going to say Shohei Otani AL, Corbin Burns NL.
So I'm going to cap this because my preseason predictions for the American League, I was torn between either Luis Castillo or Shane Bieber for the American League. And for the NL, I also agree with you. It's going to be Corbin Burns, who ironically is currently number one in best odds to win NL MVP if you go by DraftKings. So that's my opinion. Obviously, baseball doesn't exist. That's just my opinion, so I capped it.
So when Hunter Green of the Reds wins it,
Yeah,
that would be
baseball
a
doesn't
doesn't
exist.
that would be a baseball doesn't exist move right there. But baseball
You know,
does exist sometimes, especially with our last topic, official topic. So
our last official topic, our last narrative, the Miguel Cabrera farewell tour has Pujols level love.
that's no cap, man. I mean, Albert Pujols, Miguel Cabrera, just like Albert Pujols, is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's won a Triple Crown. He's won a World Series way back when I was like 4 years old with the Marlins. He's been an elder statesman of the game, 3,000 hits, MVPs, almost won a World Series with the Tigers. I hope he has a better season than he did last year and accumulates a lot of stats. But you've got to admire a dude who's definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer, elder statesman of the game. I'm gonna look up and see how exactly old he is. I wrote it down and then I lost it in the Indiana game. All my notes ended up on the floor. Would you believe that?
I
And
definitely believe that.
they ended up in the floor, so I've kind of lost it. He's 39 years old, 500 home runs, 3,000 hits, two-time MVP, Triple Crown champion. I even hope that he's like the Tigers All Star. They'll give him the Dirk Nowitzki treatment and and give him that 13th All Star appearance. But yeah, I think he deserves that hype. He's earned that hype. Give Miguel Cabrera all the flowers. He may not be as flashy as Albert Pujols, but he's a hell of a player. And I hope he gets a season like akin to Albert Pujols to bring it all to a nice little end.
So I promise you, this isn't a homer take.
Okay.
So it's cap,
Tread
but
lightly.
it's no disrespect to Miguel Cabrera, dude. He's a baller. He's he's been one of the better players in baseball since I've been a fan. I'm not disrespecting him at all in the slightest. And I better make this quick because we're approaching 10 minutes to go.
Well, the World Series thing won't take long.
Right. But Pujols, I feel like was a little bit more of an icon during his run of dominance. The reason I say that is because he put together the greatest hitting decade we've ever seen in baseball. So that's reason number one. Reason number two, the fact that Albert was chasing that 700 home run accolade really got fans into it even more. So I feel like chasing that milestone is what puts him over the top. Like I said, no disrespect to Miguel Cabrera at all. He is an amazing player. And like you said, first ballot Hall of Famer. And it was a pleasure to watch him play.
He's great.
Yeah, he's great. But for those two reasons, I feel like it doesn't quite get the level of love that Albert Pujols got.
And another
I know that's ironic coming from the Cardinals fan. You're going to be like,
know.
Les is being a homer, but no.
Oh, no, you're not. You're not. Because the other thing, too, Les, is like the two teams are in drastically different positions. Let's not
Right.
The Tigers are probably the third or fourth place team in that division. The Cardinals were a divisional favorite in the NL Central. So that also does come into play a little bit too, because Albert Pujols was freer to go out and contribute because you're hitting around Paul Goldschmidt, you're hitting around Arenado, and then Albert Pujols could get like a tired pitcher and take him to yard, or like didn't have to worry about carrying the team. And I don't think Miguel Cabrera has to worry about carrying the team, but that Tigers team is just depleted. So
Mhm.
I think that also factors into it. I just hope that he gets the love like Pujols did, because it's easy to forget like that franchise.
Anyways, on to our last couple segments, which we are officially done with the 8 narratives we have heading into the MLB season. But now we're getting into some last fun questions. Fun predictions or questions, whatever you really want to call them. But to wrap up the show, so our first um, opinion is: what is an underrated team in baseball that you like?
I think a team that's going to be a lot of fun this year is the Chicago Cubs. They have a lot of interesting guys. They got Trey Mancini, they got Seiya Suzuki still. Ian Happ is still on the roster. They signed Cody Bellinger. They signed Dansby Swanson. They still got a couple interesting younger guys. They signed Tucker Barnhart, RIP my heart. I mean, they're not going to be like a great team or anything like that, but they're going to be a fun team to watch with all those guys on it. So I'm going to say the Chicago Cubs. The Chicago Cubs are my kind of underrated, fun to watch team.
I'm going to go with the Texas Rangers because on top of having guys like Marcus Simeon and Corey Seager, they went out and got the best pitcher in baseball in Jacob deGrom. So I'm really excited to see what they do down in Arlington. So our last thing we're going to predict are we got to have our World Series matchup and our World Series winner. So McMuffin, what you got?
I'm going to go with the Astros and the Padres, and I'm actually going to take the Padres
Why?
just because I want it. I think both those teams are a lot of fun. There's a lot of pop in in those lineups. Pitching's a little bit suspect, but I think it's going to be interesting to watch those two teams. I really just want them to play each other with a title on the line because, baseball doesn't exist. Baseball's a lot of fun. There's going to be, and it will make it even more fun would just be watching two absolutely insane offensive juggernauts, each with a differently composed core four in the lineup, just going to town on baseballs in Houston and San Diego. And that's really it, just for my personal entertainment factor.
So my World Series matchup and prediction. I'm going to have, and Matt, I swear Matt's going to just call me a homer this entire show, but that's okay.
This
Uh,
podcast is suck now.
this podcast sucks now. Okay,
Yeah.
well, darn. Anyways, so I have the Cleveland Guardians versus the St. Louis Cardinals in my World Series matchup because, as we said, baseball doesn't exist. So I'm going to be completely wrong. But the Guardians, as I mentioned earlier, Shane Bieber is going to be one of my predictions of being in that running for AL Cy Young. They had the youngest team in baseball that made the postseason a season ago, a complete top to bottom team, and they went out and added Josh Bell. So I really like them. The Cards, as I said earlier, they're going to be the most exciting team in baseball. And if our MVP candidates go 3-15 in the postseason again, I'll give up on baseball altogether. So, plus, I'm assuming a healthy rotation with Jack Flaherty. So the Cardinals, I think, will be as dangerous as anybody in the AL. So, and I'm a homer because my winner, St. Louis Cardinals, because baseball doesn't exist and I can do this.
Yeah, I mean that's the fun of baseball and really any sport. As long as you don't pick like the Detroit Lions, you're usually in good shape.
Yeah, like the Cardinals, I mean, they have a legitimate chance. I mean, they're a good team. I mean, on paper.
Yeah, I mean everybody in baseball outside like the bottom quarter does.
Hmm.
That is the one thing that scares me about baseball going forward is I don't know Les if you saw this, but Bally Sports went bankrupt, which is
Hmm.
the basically the broadcasting company was responsible for all of your regional games that show you all 162 ball games when they can. That combined with the unwillingness of a lot of teams like the Reds, the Athletics, the Royals, well, not even the Royals, really. Um, well, yes, the Royals. I'm just going to be honest. that's what scares me when like I see this happening is the revenue is drying up and these teams don't have incentive to keep the revenue up and going. And so that's what scares me for baseball going forward is that we're going to lose a lot of these small market teams because of lack of fan interest, because there's no money being spent on the teams, and also because there's no money to be made in broadcasting the games to the point where regional means like you can only watch the Reds in Cincinnati, and I think that'll be horrible for the game because it's just now experimenting and getting exciting, and we're stuck with like worrying about money and TV right deals, and I don't like that.
Anyways, I think that wraps up this episode of the Less is More Sports podcast. As always, like and subscribe to Less is More Sports YouTube and Spotify channel. Be sure to tell us what you liked, what you didn't like in the comment section below. Be sure to follow the social media pages on Facebook and Twitter. That was a solid episode, man. I'm not going to lie.
Yes. Well, we got through it very quickly. We had a pitch clock. We stuck to it. We didn't get any violations. Game's over in 2 hours. That's what we like to do.
We have a 40-minute time slot and we got done before 40 minutes.
Yeah,
that's pretty great. We are appealing to the new baseball rules, like you said.
We are sticking to the pitch clock, and we are going to have some fun with it. So,
I call it being festive.
Festive. We planned for this, damn it. We planned this, damn it.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm going with it, and that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Well, since we have 2 minutes, I'm gonna flip the script just a teeny bit, and we're gonna say, shout out to the Drake Bulldogs and the Kennesaw State Owls today for clinching their berths in the NCAA tournament. I really like Drake. They have a good guard named DeVries, who's like one of those guard forwards, very tall, lanky kid. Oh, and UNC Asheville, who I think you may want to pay attention to UNC Asheville if you're one of the higher ranked seeds. They've got a couple of guys. They've got mostly Drew Pember and his long ass hair, who could cause your team a lot of trouble because that's just the kind of team they've got right now at UNC Asheville. Really like Drake too. Drake has Roman Penn. He's pretty good. They've got Tucker DeVries. He's pretty good. I'm gonna be really interested to see where those two teams shake out on Selection Sunday because there's two of those mid majors that I am very keen on going. Maybe not going on like the St. Peter style run, but definitely putting the fear of God into your team on on Thursday or Friday of the opening weekend of the tournament. So shout out to them. Kennesaw State, the Owls, it's the first time they've made the NCAA tournament. So, the first timers club is open to them now. They have a really good team. I don't think they're going to really put any fear of God in anybody, but really happy for the Kennesaw State Owls.
I like Drake too. Scorpion is a great album.
Oh my God! If you're gonna dunk on the Missouri Valley, this podcast's over.
No. It's I had to throw that in there, but I have a feeling. I feel like this is a very foreshadowing moment for next week's episode. So stay tuned.
Yes, maybe we'll see.
We'll see.